Hello, and welcome to Manga Mommies.
A podcast where we chat about, you guessed it, mangas, and occasionally our lives as parents.
Nice to meet you all. I'm Kyo,
And I'm Kel.
and we are your host on the show. We hope you're having a great Monday. So please, would you kindly get a drink, take a seat, and let's chat. Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be discussing, does fandoms really save manga from becoming extinct / canceled? But before we get started, I want to thank everyone who have recently donated to our view count and currently subscribed to both Spotify and our YouTube account. Even though,
Thanks, everyone.
yeah, thank you, everybody. It really makes us happy. Even though some of the clicks on YouTube are more or less just click in and then instant click away. But guess what? Still got your views, suckers. Because, there's distinction, but there's no real distinction when it comes to that. There's two categories, and either way, I still got your views. So thank you.
I mean, my standards are pretty low.
That is true, considering we got on our recent one for episode 10. I mean, I'm actually surprised we even got to episode 10. I'm so proud of us for even making this episode 11. We should all give ourselves a clap for that. But
Little claps.
I mean,
Little
even
claps for us.
yeah.
And apparently my water jug also decided that it wanted to ting, so.
Yeah, I heard that, but that's fine. Also want to say thank you to our first dislike on YouTube. They gave us no example of what they hated or why they hated it in a comment, so I don't know if it was an accident or not. But thank you. It warmed my heart knowing that I have pissed you off in some way.
I feel at home.
I really do.
I'm a disappointment again.
Yay. Thank you, Mommy. Ooh, well, I digress. But again, like I said, thank you, everyone. And if you have not subscribed, please do. Bring us up in that count.
We would be very appreciative.
I mean, we're not really looking into being a billion-dollar company, but it would be nice to just have a fan base. Hint, hint. They could send me snacks. Hint, hint, hint.
I mean, I think it's fitting that we're asking for a fandom when we're talking about them today.
Oh, that's the truth. Or as some of anime, well, as some manga would do it. No, it's actually the anime because it's always the voice actors that do that part. But I digress. No, I mean, I would love us to have some kind of fandom, especially if we actually decide to do a New Year's special party and go live on Twitch. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Play some games. Y'all can actually see what we look like and judge us from there. It's not much to look at. I'll tell you what, it's really not much to look at. We're not fashion models.
You kidding me? I will 100% go Vogue and wrap myself in Christmas lights.
Okay, you can do that, and I will be sitting over there with my hundreds of snacks and just be eating and watching you just fall flat on your face, because that'd be funny to watch.
That's fair. I would still do it, though. It'd be so warm.
Yeah.
All of those lights emanating that heat. I wouldn't need a blanket.
Well, it would depend. Some of the indoor lights now don't actually emulate heat.
Ma'am, I'm broke. We using lights from like the early 2000s over here.
Oh, please. You mean 1995 if you want some heat, damn it. Don't pull that whole 2000 shit.
Look, I said heat, not burn your house down.
Well, who knows. Speaking of
Our
which, my
fans
youngest son almost set my aunt's house on fire. That was nice. I think I may have talked about this already, but yeah.
I know you told me, but I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast yet or not.
Yes. So my 8-month-old decided to grab my phone, which actually had a charm from a friend of mine in Japan that she got me. Shout out to her and her wife. Yeah, grabbed my phone to chew on it because he got his first tooth. And unfortunately, the metal charm hit the prong on the charger that was connected to the outlet, and it set it off in sparks. He's okay. Most of my phone case was rubber, so it protected him from getting electrocuted, which is, thank on that one.
Yeah.
But it also killed half of my aunt's house. Like, for some reason, the surge protector did not protect the surge. So, and what's so bad is, like, after he did it, he just laughed, and I'm like, great. I have a pyromaniac for an 8-month-old, and I have a 2-year-old who likes to go randomly find fake knives and come chase you with it. One's for kids to play with, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's always fun.
So what I'm hearing is you're raising a training camp for serial killers.
Maybe an arsonist. Of course we're kidding. We're kidding, everyone. I'm not actually raising those. Oh my god. No, it was an accident. It was a complete accident. He just laughed because he saw the sparks everywhere because the whole thing lit up. I mean, it was a whole thing. He's fine. Everyone's fine. The house is fixed. No one went to jail. 8-month-old in
Only you,
handcuffs.
though.
God, yeah, it added to the whole everything that's been going on the last few years. Everything, most of my life. It's a lot of close calls.
Yeah, it's only really you.
So true.
Like, when you're sitting there messaging me like, "I need a vent session," I'm like, "Did somebody die? Did you almost die again? What
Right?
did your children do?" Because this is going to be a story of epic proportions
Pretty
that,
much. And a lot
again,
of this. Go
would
ahead.
be something that for most people, like, they'd be like, "Yo, you're making that up," and I'm like, "No, I swear to whatever god that you pray to that this woman is telling the truth, and it is just shit dumb luck. More
You know, we
dumb
could
than
make
luck."
that. We could make that a fun game for the New Year's party.
Trauma bingo.
Kind of. But just have everybody like predict a scenario and oh no, we could do 2 truths and a lie bingo edition.
Oh my god, everybody would lose.
I don't know. I think we got some people out there that would probably win. I mean,
Maybe. Depends on who plays, I guess.
that is true. But all of that, let's move on to today's podcast. I know a lot of listeners who usually click out about now are probably like, God, I can't stand these bitches. Click. Well, let's get to the fun shit. Woo!
Why do they just ramble? Oh my god.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so I guess we can start from the very beginning. What is a fandom?
Dun dun dun.
So, according to fan scholar Cornel Sandvoss, he defines a fandom as a regular, emotionally involved consumption of a given popular narrative or text. We've all experienced being in a fandom of sorts, whether it's your favorite sports team, liking a celebrity, or different interests or activities. And even though people have experienced all this before, popular culture fans historically have been stigmatized by mainstream media. Fandom starts with the adaptation of a fan identity. Becoming a fan can be powerful as a powerful way to define oneself. And then when the fan acts on their fandom, they're expressing the identity that they've chosen. So it's not just in relation to mangas or anime or things like that. That's just where sort of this dual stigma comes in, where it's more widely accepted that this happens, but at the same time, it's still incredibly stigmatized for being a part of a fandom, which I guess, we can all sort of relate to.
That is true. We could all do that. I've had some fandoms with snack.
Right. And I mean, when you get fans, you also have to talk about the negative side too, which is your toxic fandoms.
Mm.
So you're going to get a lot of bullying and abuse, both from the other fans and from media creators. They can play a role in people's identity, but can also contribute to a sense of entitlement or even superiority. This has led to many fans internalizing acceptable and unacceptable ways to behave as a fan, and then policing people within their fandoms as a result. So they bully other fans with abuse, purity tests, and at the most extreme, antisocial behaviors like threats. Unfortunately, like many other parts of American societies and everywhere else in the world, fandom has become increasingly polarized by issues like diversity or representation. As a result, it seems like there's a huge percentage of fans that will denounce and antagonize anybody, including fellow fans or media creators, who champion inclusion and diversity, branding them as social justice warriors.
In other words, gatekeeping.
Because you have fan entitlement. Fans who claim a reboot or a remake of a particular piece of intellectual property will ruin their childhood are often seen as toxic. I mean, for me, I guess I kind of fall into that with some things because I'm like, do we really need a live action of like this particular thing that was done really well before? Can't we just like not touch the bad stuff? But yeah, so many people believe that fans that act this way are entitled and that they have their fan object preserved and treated in only the ways that they deem it to be acceptable. This is considered not only toxic, but inappropriate and immature.
The more you
It's kind of
know.
a general rundown, right? We just need the PBS, the more you know.
Yeah.
Because I actually came prepared for this episode today.
Yeah, I'm not
No
spoiling you
sideball
live.
questions.
Woo! Ooh, that's probably why we had so many views. Like almost what, like 50 views of this latest episode, where like most of the other ones have like been 1 or 2 or none. Shout out to anyone who went back and actually watched episode 3 and saved it from the lonely dead zone. But it's probably that because I scolded you. I think like twice, but I was like, "Did you actually?"
Right?
Nah, it was mostly my fault. I take blame on that one.
That's okay.
My brain died.
Normally, I come a lot more prepared than I did.
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of stuff going on between each of our lives, so it's not a big problem.
No, I mean, I'm very unbothered by it. Clearly, your scolding did not as much as you were hoping.
Did nothing because I wasn't expecting nothing. I was just like, oh, crap. Okay, at least I have something. Because I'm used
You
to you having like
unprepared.
your 20-page essay, deep dive of like
You're
30
just
something
over here
references.
like, you unprepared buffoon.
Something
It is up to
similar.
I to say this today.
Not really. I was like, no, I'm so shy. I'm an introvert. I can't do this.
Like the first like 8 episodes.
So true. Yeah, 100%. And eventually I may go back and redo them all because I'm like, I nitpick myself, not others. Well, sometimes others, but I nitpick myself. If it's not
But
perfect, I hate it.
I
100%.
think it's funny because, like, even our intro, like, that is our original intro. We recorded that before we ever recorded any episode, even our, like, Meet Us episode 0. And I hear it now and it's like, it's so robotic compared to what we sound like now because both of us were absolutely terrified. I'm not entirely sure why 2 introverts decided to start a podcast, but here we are. Like,
Probably. Eventually we need to go back and actually like, well, I wouldn't like redo the others, but go back and redo the intro because the mom
yeah, well,
life thing, I think it's more of just a life in general. Again, I'm mm.
I mean, maybe we'll update it for season 2.
Maybe.
Because I mean, we were throwing around the idea of taking a little bit of a break to sort of like regroup and get our next season all prepared and everything else. So maybe that'll happen.
Yeah.
Do some updating and whatnot.
Yeah. Update it. Maybe we'll get some, fandom going. Wahahaha. But not toxic fandom. I can't. I don't know. I'm not all about. I can go and bully somebody myself, and I will. If I see somebody getting, hurt or bullied or whatever, I'll stick up and I will probably show my butt about it. But nah, I can't go on somewhere and just be like, everyone, this one person's super mean to me. Go get them. I can't do that.
Nope.
I gatekeep myself in my own internal struggles. So if I ever actually like open up about certain things that happened to me in the past, don't go try to find these people. Don't do it. It's over. It's done. It's just me trauma bombing for fun.
Because believe you me, they're already on my hit list. It's fine. Allegedly.
Allegedly. I can't. You're crazy. I'll maybe
Well, I
come
mean,
up
you
there
can
and
say anything you want if you say allegedly.
true, and I can say I'll beat you with love. That doesn't imply that love's really gonna be there.
Where's the alleged? Why is it not alleged? We're completely derailing again. It
We
is.
are. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
What's your take on whether or not fandoms actually help save manga?
There's some back and forth with it because usually what manga gets canceled usually around certain examples, like there's the unknown example where no one knows what happened, it just vanished from existence. You can speculate, but you really don't know what happened behind the scenes. It just kind of vanished. Then you have your canceled because either the writer died and didn't have a successor, or whoever created it didn't have a successor, which doesn't happen often. You have companies that just abruptly cancel their showing of it for any reason. Licenses issues will happen. It'll get canceled. Topic issues, like sometimes it's a lot of controversy and gives it bad press. Sometimes the fandom also makes it canceled because they're quote unquote too toxic to bring in new fans. Gatekeeping. I hate gatekeeping. The gate should at least be somewhat open. Allow,
I
entrance.
mean, it should be open until you flash your booty at the barbecue, at which point you will be asked to leave.
Yeah, pretty much. Like gatekeep, one of the bigger things for me because everybody's like, "Oh, you're gatekeeping." Yes, manga was the more popularity with the male demographic until a lot of recent years, where now it's kind of a mix but even my views, looking at it from my perspective, business wise, our demographic is a little bit higher in the male. So a lot of times it's gaming culture. There is a lot of gatekeeping in gaming culture. The quote unquote get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich is the oldest joke in the book. Does any of these people who make, I know a lot of it's just juvenile, but these people that actually make this joke know that that's where the knives are, where the poison is? I mean, come on, people. I'll make you a sandwich. What?
Aqua Tofana.
Yeah, so, like, come on, people. And I've seen it get pretty nasty upon certain fans of certain mangas, certain animes, certain sports, certain games, gaming. Toxic. I can't.
But I keep to myself. I'm like, I like something, and the only people who will know that I like something are people that I actually, care about and trust.
But anyway, going back into manga, let's focus a little bit back. I know I keep derailing, but I have a lot to say with some of the topics going on here. Like I said, gatekeeping is one of the big ones. But going back, there are current risks with certain mangas. I know there is Shonen Jump is one of the biggest companies really known to abruptly cancel slash end manga that they're showing in their issues. Okay, so they're higher when it comes to a slow pacing. If they feel like whatever the writer's doing is too slow for the issues to come out, let's say like, it takes like 5 issues for them to power up. There's story problems. The audience doesn't seem to want to pay for the subscription, which now currently there is a subscription online, and they actually don't buy the manga. So it's a lot of revenue back and forth because if you go out and let's say you're reading it online, shonen, right? And you're paying to read, I don't know, Naruto at one point. If you don't go and buy the manga, that looks bad because you're not profiting them, which then some share may go to Shonen Jump for originally showing it to the fans or making new fans. That's a lot of issues, especially over here in America, where if it's not licensed to come to America and get translated, then immediately it stays in one country. The fandom's going to be specifically to one country, and then you're going to start losing the quote unquote moolah that you can gain from other countries by having it spread.
Yes.
So currently at risk is Dragon Ball Z, my heart, because the creator did pass. And to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, like I said, you can correct me in the comments. I don't care. I'm not going to be hurt. There's no plans for it to continue. There's nothing that's been said that he had a successor. There's nothing said that maybe they had enough to finish out what they've currently done to kind of end it. So we don't know. That's kind of scary when it comes to it because I know there are mangas out there who's had the creators pass on that either it did not make it at least got ended, or it just you'll never know what the story ending was. And it really hurts to know that. One of the current ones that are being fought over among fans with Shonen Jump to keep it alive is Undead Unluck. That is one of the big ones that Shonen is, I guess, debating on dropping to, I guess, make room for another manga to come in. Or whatever the reason. I know there's a lot of keep it alive petitions out there for this year. So I'm not sure where it's going to go. We're going to see if we win. Maybe.
Maybe.
Got anything to say on that?
I don't know too much about that manga specifically or how the fandom is for that one. So like it's definitely something where I could understand like a lot of people if they really, really loved it and all of a sudden, it's threatening to be taken away. Like that would really suck. As far as Dragon Ball, that was a part of my childhood, at least the anime was. So I'm really hoping that they figure that out and at least wrap it up. That would be sort of I think best case scenario and leave it where it lies because it's been several many years.
Yeah.
And iterations. And I think at this point there's enough there to sort of satisfy the fandom.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, there may be something that have gotten released that I haven't noticed about it, but to my knowledge, it's unknown. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, there's probably other current risks that our mangas are facing right now. I know rising costs are one of the other ones that are kind of affecting certain sales of mangas. So, like I said, even though I give out, links to be able to go read the stuff for free, I really do push for people if they can afford it to go out and buy the physical copy, because it really does help. It really does help keep it saved, even in popularity.
I mean,
So
it's nice having the free copy to see if you even like it,
yeah, I mean, I
but
always use stuff like that for preview stuff just to see if I like it. Sometimes it hooks me in as the artwork and the story, and sometimes it's vice versa. It just depends. But going on that, some examples of manga that was saved by either a fandom or we got new fans of it. And that's one big thing too, is you want it to keep going, so you need new fans. Again, no gatekeeping. One example recently that was announced is Love Bullet was saved to continue in Shonen Jump. Another one in the past that was saved, Space Battleship Yamato. The fans actually band together to bring it back on the air after it stopped in Japan television. So that's good.
caring for the right cause.
Right? Carrying for. Yeah, I like that. Bleach did have a fallout because of the anime. It's supposed to, I don't know if it is come out yet, but it was supposed to actually get a ending. Season 3 was supposed to come out for the anime, which, if it does, that means there may be a chance that new fans are going to discover it and actually go and read the manga, which increases sales, which keeps it back in the loop of stuff that gets reprinted. Sailor Moon had that same issue. The licensing expired for printing, and it got rebought later and was booted back up. Fun fact about Sailor Moon, during the 1990s, Disney almost adapted Sailor Moon into a film under the Walt Disney Pictures banner. But that got canceled immediately because they probably realized exactly what some of the context was with Sailor Moon. Not a pretty girl. It's not just a pretty girl. There's a lot of stuff that goes on.
I mean, I just can't picture Sailor Moon as a Disney princess.
Oh,
Like, I feel like there are just way too many other princesses that would have a beef with that.
and yet I could still see it being in Disney because of Tuxedo Mask. He
Yeah.
would go under the princes that are a long line of other princes that don't do shit. The forgettable ones. I'm here. I somewhat maybe distracted the villain. I don't know. There's a lot of controversy on what he actually does, but I digress. He really doesn't do nothing. I'm here. Goodbye. I'm glad to help you.
You look like you need help. Let me distract him long enough for you to change into your special sailor gear.
Yeah.
Because that's not instantaneous for some reason. And at one point she's naked. So I mean, like that always freaked me out as a kid. I'm like, why is she naked? Why are her body parts glowing?
Yeah.
And that was all that stuck with me. It wasn't, oh cool,
Well,
she's changing so she can kick butt. It was like she's spinning around, her hair grows differently, and she's naked. I'm like 8 and I'm really concerned.
Well, that's the one difference. I think main difference, because I don't know exactly in Canada your laws are when it comes to that stuff, but I know in America it was heavily edited. So what
Well,
you're
like,
describing
they
may not be 100% what we've seen in America
like
when it was aired.
it was very much a case of like they would zoom in like what I guess you would consider like a fan service almost panty shot, but her whole butt was like somebody shot a flashlight at a white surface and it was just radiating like light. So you didn't actually see anything other than a silhouette. And then like same thing with, the upper chestal region where it would just kind of like glow really brightly so like you couldn't tell anything. And I was just like, well,
Yeah. So Naruto was one of them that was heavily saved from being canceled. Not, they were ever at risk, but it was one of the ones that was saved from quote unquote being canceled because it actually had a higher demographic of viewers, buyers, merchandise. It got really popular to where you had a slight deviation from people who liked it to the very Naruto runny fans. That's all I can say they are. The really big fans. And some of those branched off into a little bit more of the toxic gatekeeping fans. I know some of those people. They're not the greatest people to discuss Naruto with, especially if you are a casual watcher. Me, I only even read the part 1 half. I think it stops at like 24, 25, maybe 28 or whatever. And then it jumps into when they're an adult. I've not seen that. So I can't go that far without somebody correcting me on my whatever. But I am excited because I did find out not long before we had record this that there's a crossover comic that is coming out with Naruto and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're my favorite. The title is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles X Naruto. And it's set to run this year. It's supposed to be officially released for the public to actually get a hands on this month on the 20th. And I really, really want it because it's pretty what they've shown artwork wise so far. So excited. Okay. I have my own fandom when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay, I'm old school fan. I'm like comic book. I am old school fan. Anyway, another one that was saved. Yeah. I had a little moment. Another one that was saved for Shonen Jump is Unruly Slash of getting rid of stuff. Kagura Bachi. That one got saved recently too, to be continued. And then you have, of course, Fruits Basket was saved because it had a redo project to bring in new fans to go back and read the manga, and a continuation for people who just watched the anime and never actually got a finishing. The same happened with Full Metal Alchemist when they released Brotherhood. It was a rewrite for the anime to set it right, because it does split off from the original anime, and the manga does split at some point. So it kind of redirects everything back. That brought in new fans to anime and manga, the culture, as a lot of people call it. Astro Boy was a big one. Astro Boy originally aired in 1980, but in 2003, anime brought it back to life to bring in new fans. And then in 2009, CGI brought new fans in again with its own rendition of a movie. Yeah.
I do remember watching the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And my first thought was, oh, that was a video game.
Yep, it was also a video game. There was a few video games with that one too. One Piece. One Piece was brought back to life through the Netflix live action reboot. Or I call it a reboot, but it was just a live action. That also brought new fans, which flooded more trying to catch up on the manga, or Godspeed to anyone who was just now starting that.
You will have years and years and years of content without ever having to wait for something to release.
Well, I think if you're reading it, you can go through it a lot faster than if you're watching it. Because if you're watching it, that's a lot of, I would think, more fillers than it is in the manga. That's one of the ones I really don't pay too much attention to. I know pretty much about it. I'm just kind of waiting for it to end, because I love it, but I'm not particularly the biggest fan of One Piece. Back when it first released, I read up to a certain, I forgot where it was, but up to a certain point, and then I was like, well, I'm out. So there's other things I gotta focus on.
I am simply just done.
Pretty much. One Punch Man has received a decline when it came out the second season of the anime, but it is particularly one of the stronger ones. Just like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's mostly fan-based, so all the fans, because it has a very unique art style that's gorgeous to me, by the way. I do love me some JoJo. But all of that is pretty much, the fans keep loving it, the fans put money in it, so it stayed around. Same thing with Cardcaptor Sakura. So that one has had an anime, I think it's had video games, I think most of these have had video games mixed into it and stuff. There was actually a card game, Naruto had a card game, One Piece had a card game, Bleach had a card game. Too much information. But it did. It took a nosedive for a while, and then it came back when new fans discovered it, which Clamp, there's a big fandom when it comes to Clamp. Clamp is one of the ones that have one of the biggest fandoms. So
I feel like another fandom that's kind of like also on the decline right now is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yes.
Like that one, like it's every time I go to like my local chapters or Kohl's and I browse the manga section, it's like there's so many, and I know that they've done movies, and I know that they have the anime, and I know that they have a bunch of stuff, and it's like it seems to be on a decline. Like the fandom is just being more and more disappointed in it as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Oh, and a lot of stuff that gets saved, it's because it mostly can come over, it can go into other countries, but mostly can come over here in the States, because like the one song, if you ever watch the anime Beck, about a band, their song that they have on there for it is like, I want to be a hit in America, and it's pretty much sums it up right there. But moving on to, sadly, there is quite a list of them, so I don't have them all. If anyone's interested in it, later I may put up the website that actually has most of them linked in for you to go and look at the dead. The mangas that were canceled due to death, unknown, lack of popularity, or never got far due to licensing, meaning it never came over to America. Those mangas, some of them you may know, some of you may not. I have examples of why they were canceled, and I have some that do not have examples because I just didn't list them. You have, in the Dot Hack series, Dot Hat Link, you have the manga Dean Angel. That one actually is finished, and it is here in America. It cut off from the last few books. Didn't make it. Phantom Seer, didn't make it. Then you have Wild Adaptor. You have Drug and Drop, which is a Clamp series that got canceled. It's a very good one too, and it is here in America, but it did get canceled. You have Codebreaker that got canceled. High School of the Dead ended up getting canceled because of the passing of its writer. Gangsta was canceled due to bankruptcy. Flame of Rebecca was canceled. Slam Dunk was canceled for unknown reasons. Another shonen one, Shaman King, was canceled. That was big around the mid 2000s was Zach Bell. If you do have any recollection of Zach Bell, it was on Toonami. I think Shaman King was also someone on Toonami. I can't remember on that one. But lost its popularity and supposedly didn't actually finish what happened at the end of Zach Bell. And supposedly there's a sequel, Deadman Wonderland. The anime adaptation killed it, completely killed it. You know, it's gone. ZipMan was canceled. GhostWriter was canceled. Access Them All was canceled. Hard-Boiled Cop and Dolphin was canceled. And Red Hood was canceled. So those are a few examples of stuff that just drops off the face of the earth. You may find the manga, because some of them probably had been completed and it just never got reprinted. But you're going to pay a hefty price for them because they are not reprints and it sucks, but it happens. Like I said, only your fans can help you survive when it comes to stuff like this.
I definitely feel like, you know, some mangas do pretty good on the whole. Not traditional fan service in the way that you would assume fan service, but like actually taking into account their fan base and sort of what they've said too, which is kind of nice. And it seems to be those are the ones that make it a little bit more frequently.
Yep. I don't know whoever said money can't bring happiness. I'm sorry. If I had the money, it'd bring me a ton of happiness because I'd have all the manga. Be so happy.
Well, it's because like the full expression is something along the lines of like money in excess cannot buy happiness or something like that.
Right.
Like it's basically like the overaccumulation of and hoarding of money will not make you happy. It'll make you paranoid.
True, and I mean that's 100% true. It really would because then you have everyone holding out a hand. I mean, but it's mostly just the layman's terms brought of it nowadays with everything in prices being so high. It's one of those where it's like, you really believe that? That's
I mean, like, I would be good, if I had enough money to go on vacation once a year, all of my bills were paid, and I didn't have to check my bank account before I went to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'd be good with that.
Yeah, no.
I have very little in my life where I'm like, yes.
Right. I
That
don't
is a
need the new
requirement.
house or the new car. I don't need none of that. I just need manga, snacks, and my children being happy and fed. That's it. That's all I need.
Mhm.
Mostly snacks.
Yes. So many snackos.
Yeah, because now I have to share my snacks with the kiddos.
No, you just tell them that it's spicy.
My kids like spicy. Don't work in my house.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. My kid's totally gonna believe me on that one. Any thoughts when it comes to the topic of the day?
I mean, I definitely do think that fandoms really do play a bigger part in the longevity and stability of mangas than a lot of people would like to think that they do. Because, you look at like celebrities or any sort of like sports teams or whatever, and it's like, yeah, they're going to survive no matter what their fan base really does, unless it gets really, really bad, because that's just the nature of the beast. But it's like, well, it doesn't seem to pan out like that with manga. It seems to be, your fan base is wholeheartedly incredibly important.
And I mean, like the writer of Wild Adaptor, dropped the manga. I mean, that's it. He dropped the manga. He's really big. He did Yuki. If anyone's ever read that one or even watched the anime, he was just really known for starting up certain projects and then just axing them like what I just did with a can. So. Wave my arm too fast. You can comment your favorite Clamp manga down below. That'd be great. Because I do want to do a Clamp for a manga of a month, but I don't know which one I should pick because there's quite a bit of Clamps. So, and they're all very pretty. They're all very pretty. It's hard to choose pretty ones.
See, the problem is you say clamps, and I think of the robot from like Futurama.
Yeah,
So.
I'm saying clamps, but I mean clamp. Like
I
there's no
know.
S, but I tend to add things by accident, so that's one of my faults. But like we said before, and I know we're probably going to say it maybe again in ending credits. Actually, I don't know if we really actually has that. I think you do. I think it's like and subscribe. But come on, people,
Yeah,
subscribe, like us. We have
one of us. One of us. Sorry.
right. Go out there, buy manga, support everyone else. I would say support us, but unless you really just want to like buy us, buy us a coffee or donate or whatever it is, there is a link to do that. But other than that, there's not really much we can do at this point. There's not really much. All we could do is be like, hey, come on, y'all, let's subscribe and like us and share us with your friends and forgive our witty, terrible banter. Because I can't
Or
get
don't,
any.
your choice.
The more you spread awareness, I mean, yes, there's a ton of podcasts or YouTube channels that does a lot of stuff with manga, but I think we're a little different. I think we're a little special, maybe.
Oh, I know we're special.
Well, not that kind of special. That's a whole other book. We keep that closed. That's only specifically for lives we have yet to do. Honestly, I think a lot of the lack of popularity is because they can't see our face. They could just hear us, and they're like, there's no visual views here.
Yeah.
Unlike Spotify, where that's specifically for, podcasts. So, and I think other musical stuff. So,
I mean, maybe one of these days, like, we'll actually get, like, a setup and do, video, but
yeah. I mean, I
we'll
would
see.
like that someday, but right now my office is not. Oh, y'all would probably donate thinking I'm like dirt ass poor, like in a box. Oh my God! Someone give her a penny.
Oh,
Give
I'd
her a
have to
penny.
flip, like, my entire setup
Yeah.
sideways or something. Like, it would
Yeah.
it would not go well because at this point you're looking at my entire dining room.
Yeah. So we'll work on that. We'll work on that. But no.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, just comment down below if there's anything that we mentioned or any manga that we did not mention that may have been canceled or vanished from existence, except for maybe the copies that you can find from collectors. Also comment on if you think that anything is currently being at risk that I didn't talk about because I didn't really do too much research on the risking stuff besides what I already knew, and some examples of manga that maybe you want us to talk about in the future or go over about. Hey, maybe one day we could do a live where we go more in depth about certain stuff, certain mangas of the month that we only covered certain things on. I know there's a lot of spots that we didn't go too far in with Fruits Basket. I know there was stuff we didn't go too far in with Vampire Knight that we could have talked about. We just try to keep it on the shorter end. I know this one may be a little bit longer than the other ones have been.
Yeah, we try to keep everything to a palatable length.
Yeah.
But in a live, like, we would just love to hang out with you guys and chat and exchange, thoughts for yours and how you feel about stuff. So maybe that's something we'll work on in the future.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that we could have went over in certain stuff for manga of the month, and we just don't. We kind of skim over it, our major talking points that we want to do, and that's pretty much cut and dry in the end. We try to spoil things, but not so much spoil things to where you just don't want to go and read it yourself.
Exactly. If you made it this far in the episode, we want to say thank you. We couldn't do this without your support. If you'd like to subscribe and become an official Manga Mommies member, the link will be in the show notes. For Manga of the Month, the PDF, copy, or free website will be located below. If you feel up to it, like, subscribe, or share our podcast so we can find more people just like you. We hope you have a great rest of your day, whatever time that happens to be, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Stay tuned, and thanks for listening.